Yes, good afternoon, officers. Time for today's flash CSAT program. Today's topic is very important and very interesting. Topic is simple interest and compound interest. Now, you know what is the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Basically, it is like this in simple terms. If you take 100, if you take the principal amount as 100, simple interest and compound interest. If you take this, first one, simple interest if you take, for example, take simple interest, what happens is, the principal, let's say 100, the rate of interest, let's say 10%. So, what is the, and time period is 1 year. If you take this, then what happens is, simple interest, the interest amount that is accumulated is nothing but PTR by 100, which will give you 110 rupees. That is, which will give you 10 rupees. That means for every 100 rupees, you get 10 rupees extra. So, in second year if you take, what happens is the principal still remains 100 only and the interest still remains 10 only. But for the second year, another extra 10 rupees will be added. So, after 2 years, you will get 120. So, what is the whole point in simple interest? The principal is always constant and the interest is also constant. It does not change. But in compound interest, what happens? If you take principal as 100, rate of interest is 10%, let's take. Then the interest that is accumulated for the first year is 10 rupees. So the total amount that you get is 110. But for the second year, what happens is, this amount becomes the principal. So the principal is 110 on that 10%. That means 11 rupees. So the amount that is accumulated will be 110 plus 11 rupees, which is 121 rupees. So here, the interest keeps adding up. Here the interest remains same, number of years same. That's the basic concept. So here what happens is, in simple interest, the principal and the interest amount remains same, but in compound interest, it multiplies. So when banks give you loans, they calculate in terms of compound interest. When banks have to give you interest, they'll always calculate in simple interest. Because simple interest, the interest amount is less in comparison to compound interest. That is a logic in which the whole banking industry runs. So keeping that in mind, let's solve. These are all the formulas. For example, look at simple interest. PTR by 100. With interest, amount is principal plus the simple interest. Compound interest, P into 1 plus R by 100 whole power n, where n is the number of times it is compounded. So you can compound it for a year, you can compound it for a half year, you can compound it quarterly also. So in a year, let's say you are compounding quarterly. That means for every quarter you are compounding the amount. Then the n value will become 4. If you are compounding half yearly, 2 times will compound, therefore the n value will be 2. If you are compounding only once in a year, so n value will become 1. So that n represents the number of times it is getting compounded. Now compound interest is P into this one minus the principal. Now this formula is very important. Difference between C and E for 2 years. It is nothing but P into R square by 100 square. This formula you remember, it is very important. Next, if the compound interest has double, time for becoming 4-fold is 2 times the doubling time. Next, effective annual rate is 1 into R by 200 whole square minus 1. So what is the explanation for all these things? Everything I have clearly mentioned. For revision purpose, it will be very, very useful. So keeping that in mind, let's solve a real-time P/Q question. P is the transfer amount, R is the rate of time is here, number of compounded, and A is the total amount of money you will get after some time. Now 2023, they have asked a question. Arun deposit 1600 at 8% per annum simple interest for 2.5 years. Find the amount, find the interest. Direct is asking interest, it was asked in 2023. Such a very simple question. So directly I will take simple interest is equal to PTR by 100. So principal is 16,000 into time is 2.5 years. Rate of interest is 8 by 100. So simple question. So if you solve this, this is 40 times, this is 5 times, 5, 160, 5 3s are. So you'll get 15, 2s are 200. So the interest amount which is accumulated, finally the interest amount which is accumulated is 3,200. Like this we can solve a very simple question. It was asked in 2023. So when you look at the paper, first look for such kind of easy questions. As simple as that. Next question asked in 2023 again. The difference between compound interest and simple interest on a sum of 25% for 1 year is 4375. So find the principal. So what will we do? Directly we'll use the difference formula. I told you. Difference formula. Difference between CI and SI. So that formula we have to use. So we'll go ahead. So the difference between compound interest and simple interest on a sum at 25% is that one. So the difference is equal to the rate square into principal divided by 100 square. Direct formula you can use, shortcut it will be done. So the rate square is how much? 25 square into principal, we don't know, divided by 100 square is equal to the difference. He said the difference between the compound interest and simple interest is 4375. So 4375 is equal to 25 square into question mark. You need to just find the question mark. So question mark is equal to 4375 into 100 divided by 25 into 25. So 25 fours are 25 fours are. So 4375 into 16. So 16, how do you do it? Simple. 4375 into 10 you do. So your answer should be greater than 4370. 40,000 something. So in this, all the options are greater than 40 and another 6 times. So 4375 into 16 will give me a simple amount of 70,000. As simple as this. So directly we can do A square. The option is A. Like that we can use this formula and get the answer as simple as this. Like that we can solve this question so easily. Next question we are going to solve is 2024 question. So here a sum of money doubles itself in 5 years at compound interest. How many years will it take to become 4-4? So it becomes double, that is into 2 for every 5 years. He is asking 4 how many times? We know in compound interest he is clearly mentioning that for 5 years compound interest, for every 5 years it doubles. So what happens? That amount will be the new principal for the next 2 years. Then how many years will it take to become 4-fold? Very simple question which is asked in 2024. Students put a lot of formulas and all this, it's not necessary. He clearly mentioned for every 5 years. 5 years it becomes 2 times. 4 times how much? Direct 10 years. As simple as this. Like this we can solve a simple compound interest and simple interest formula. And if you observe, all these questions were beautifully asked. One in 2023, one is asked in 2023, second one, last one is asked in 2024. Like this we can solve the questions. Your smartness lies in identifying those questions in the question paper. As simple as that. So before we end the session, please remember we are going to start a batch on September 22nd, and it's a 2-year UPSC General Studies course, 2 years course that is. So we are believing in the concept of slow and steady wins the race. So we want students to come peacefully, enjoy their studies and go ahead. So we are going to train you in general studies for both prelims as well as for mains. So it will be a strategic, pragmatic program which works out very well for any student. So we will provide you with NCERT classes first, and then we'll link it with 19 static books with all the updated information, new information, everything in these books. Now apart from that, we'll be providing you with special one-to-one mentorship program where an expert mentor will sit and they will guide you how to write the answer paper, how to select the questions and all that. And next, recorded classes will be provided to you where by chance if you miss any class, you have a recorded class, so you are not actually missing the class. Next, practice questions will be provided to you for both prelims as well as mains. Unit ki train cheyadam jarugutundi. Ivanni chesin tarvata we will be providing you with current affairs classes. So you have to link this current affairs classes with all what you have studied so that dynamic studies will be done and static studies will be done. A combination of these two is how you have to win the war of UPSC. So if you have any doubts, you can call 8121119185 or you can mail to www.sriramsias.com. So we at SRIRAMs IAS Hyderabad, we want the students to join as soon as possible. It's a 2-year long program. So mellaga, prashantanga, happyga, enjoy the journey and get success. So that's all for today. Shamanth Pydikondala signing off. Bye-bye.